This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to Around the World in 80 Minutes, a podcast series based on the book Around the World in 80 Years by Julie Woods, that's me, illustrated by Ron Esplin, that's you.
It is.
This is podcast 4, your fourth decade, Ron, from 1975 to 1984. Who would have thought? We talked last time about you returning home. You came back to Dunedin and you had your first daughter Melanie and you were living in Kinsman Street, and then you started working at Brian Snell, which is an electronic retail outlet in Dunedin where you spent many years. You then had daughter Nicole in 1977 and the twins Penelope and Monique in 1981, at which time you moved to Pacific Street in Dunedin. What is the illustration for this podcast, please?
The illustration is, in fact, of the choice that we made of a house that was able to accommodate all these new children. And having the twins was the catalyst. And so we bought quite a big house in Pacific Street, a jolly good family home. And it had to accommodate our children while they were beginning to be educated back in Dunedin.
You visited 0 countries in this decade, which is fairly understandable given the travel that you'd just been on the decade before. Your work at Brian Snell, what attracted you to go there? Well,
I'd done electronics retailing in England, and I always had an interest in electronics and in stereo and audio and all those things. So I'd gathered some information working in Yorkshire and in London. And, of course, I started at one end of the street, in the main street in Dunedin, and walked from one end to the other. And all I did was went into an electronics store. And by the end of the day, I think I had more than one job.
You had 3 jobs, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And so I was able to choose, and I chose Brian Snell because it was owned privately, and the other ones were parts of a big beast that went all over New Zealand. And I thought, well, you can't get very far if someone remote is running the company. The Brian Snells was being run by a man sitting in an office up the top, and I thought, well, that's where I want to go. So I'll just ask them for the job which they'd offered me, and indeed that's what happened.
It proved to be a good decision because you later went on to buy the business and become managing director yourself. But before then, of course, you've got 4 young daughters, a busy household. I know that swimming and music featured large in their upbringing. Tell us about that.
Well, I think probably all these things start in a very simple manner. And we just thought that 4 girls, young girls, you have to be sure that they're going to be able to survive should they be in the water without supervision or whatever should happen. So swimming was important. The only way really to get swimming taught was to join a swimming club, and that was a competitive business in those days. So all the girls competed. Monique became a record holder in the medley, with a record that was stood for something like 10 or 12 years. She, even if I ask her how that happened, she will tell me that she has no idea. She just had a good day. Then one of the other daughters, Nicole, she represented New Zealand in the Commonwealth Games in Kuala Lumpur. And we all went as a family to watch that. That was great.
And I know that you taking them to the pool spurred your own exercise regime. How did that come about?
Well, I used to go down at 5 o'clock in the morning, a little bit before, trying to make sure that I was nearly only just awake. And if Duncan Lang, who was a famous trainer, was the trainer for our children, and if he arrived on time, I'd be able to sneak back to home and have another sleep. However, Duncan was a terrible latecomer, and I used to get thoroughly awake by the time Duncan arrived. I loved Duncan. We got on very, very well, so nothing against him. However, I must say that I thought, oh, well, if I'm going to wake up, I might as well stay up. So I used to go down in my running gear. I could sit there for a while waiting for Duncan to arrive, and then I could go for a run, and then I could come back and pick up the children. That was led to a career in running. So I ran many marathons and ultra marathons in my time as a runner.
It's an interesting segue, isn't it, that experience of getting up and taking the girls to the pool then led on to you doing the running. They were, of course, keen on music too. That was a big part of your family life. It was.
Melanie, well, they all learned the piano, essentially, but they branched out. Melanie, who was a flautist, she learned the flute, and she actually got a degree in a master's in flute performance when she was in the USA on a scholarship over there. The twins, they were funny as a fight. They played the clarinet, the two of them, and they probably haven't carried that out to any great extent. But Nicole played the violin, and being very competitive, she thought, everyone plays the violin, I'm going to play the cello. So she wound up in the Dunedin Youth Orchestra as the cellist. That cello was twice the size of Nicole, but she did it.
I know that you recall the twins played the clarinet at Christmas time outside Brian Snell, and you swear that they made more money than you did.
That's true. That's true, and they were nice to listen to. At least it wasn't an electric guitar.
Lovely to hear young people play music.
That was the period of educating the children, and I found that I had to get involved in education. So I was on school boards for over 10 years, and there wasn't much time for travel during those times.
Yeah, so in your words, you had a resty pop.
I did have a resty pop.
Oh, and of course, a busy resty pop because, as you say, life is busy with 4 young daughters and a family and the running of a business. And, of course, the running too, which did take you to do many marathons and must have provided what we would call nowadays, a great life balance for you, the running.
Well, yes, it did, really. I think I was getting a bit fat, and running marathons is a great way of reducing your weight, I can tell you. And I got a band of friends who became we're very close, and we did a lot of really ultra running all over the place, all over Dunedin. And the friends were as much fun as the running.
You wrote to Arthur Lydiard and asked him about how to get a good time when you were doing a marathon.
He did, and I did have a good time. I had a good time, and I had a good time because I ran one just over 3 hours under Arthur Lydiard's tutelage, and from then on I carried on, ran 3 marathons under 3 hours, thanks to him. And 5 Kepler challenges.
That's great. Fantastic, Ron. And that was your 4th decade. You've been listening to Around the World in 80 Minutes with Julie Woods and Ron Esplin. If you'd like to contact Ron, you can do so by sending him an email to ronesplinartist@gmail.com or phone or text him on 021 358 082. Your country count, Ron, is at 33 at the end of your 4th decade. We look forward to seeing you back here for podcast 5 next time. I'm that blind woman, Julie Woods, proud sponsor of Around the World in 80 Minutes. After going blind in 1997, I said why not so many times. I am now a professional speaker, author, advocate and coach. If you're looking for someone to help you or your team turn your no into why not, then why not send me an email to julie@thatblindwoman.co.nz or phone or call me on 021 913 513. Why not?
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.